During the pandemic, I ask everyone the first few questions. I'm going to ask you guys, what TV series would you love to guest write and direct?
I'll go first because I really watch Fargo. I love how it changes every season. It reinvents itself. It's brilliantly directed. It's constantly fresh and original. It's like very cinematic. It's like telling a movie every year.
Well, we've been guest directing on Succession, but I would love to guest write on it. I would love to take a crack at it because I just love the characters so much, and I feel like I'm starting to get the rhythm of how they speak, and it's just a wealth of riches, that show.
100%. What movie or movies do you guys think you've seen the most?
I'm going to say Willy Wonka. I think I started watching that movie very young. And if it's on, I keep it on. And I think it's been a continuum since my youth. So I kind of feel like I know every word of that movie.
The dude, what's
Lebowski.
Big Lebowski. I know we saw it like 3 times in the movie theater. So, and then subsequently, 150 times, streaming on TV, and it never gets boring. I can watch it again right now.
I 100% agree. Last fun question, if you will. If you could get the financing to make anything tomorrow, what would you make and why?
We've often talked about making The Razor's Edge again. I feel like it's never been done well. And it's just such an amazing book. And those kind of period epic films are hard to get financing for. What else?
The story of Jane Jacobs and how she fought Robert Moses and saved basically New York City, Washington Square Park, but basically saved New York from what happened to the Bronx. She's like the Shiro that has not gotten her props.
That sounds awesome. Jumping into your movie, I am curious how long it took you to talk Indiana Jones with Karen when she was on set.
Immediately. How long did we continue the conversation? I mean, she had so many great stories about that. And, she was so instrumental in the shaping of that character. She deserves a lot of credit for what I think is probably, one of the greatest female characters on screen. And, she's got great stories, and I don't think we've heard them all, but I'd like to.
Yeah, it would have been me all day. So you remember that time you did that movie with Spielberg?
Yeah.
And she was very generous at sharing them too. And she's a great storyteller. So you would have been very happy.
I would have loved it. What was it about the book that said, we want to make this and turn this into a movie?
Well, we've always wanted to make a movie in the Hudson Valley. It's our part-time home, and we love the spookiness and the beauty and the drama of the setting. And we've always been fans of the Hudson River School of Art. And here was this book that had all of that in it. And we've always wanted to make, a kind of this kind of horror movie. We've talked about it a lot. And, it just landed in our laps. I contacted the writer and I said, Shari read it, she loved it, and we kind of hit it off, and it happened.
I'm always curious about the editing process because that's the final rewrite. Could you sort of talk about what you learned in the editing room and how it helped shape the final locked picture?
Well, this movie was the first movie that us and like everybody else in the world edited remotely because we wrapped right before the pandemic. So it was like a whole other experience, sort of not sitting in the room with the editor, but talking the way we're talking right now. But that being said, I think this was a movie, we had too much movie. So much of our process was finding the bone, like the real structure of the movie through the editing process.
And deciding how much we wanted the audience to know about each character at what point in the story, because this story has a kind of unusual take on, I feel like people emerge in this story that becomes sympathetic, maybe you didn't expect, and vice versa. So, how much do we reveal about each person? That was something we talked about a lot in the editing.
Well, that's actually what I wanted to address, is that there's layers of the onion that you're pulling back as you're watching. And this is the kind of movie I would imagine that normally you would want to put it in front of like a test screening audience and and find out where's the audience figuring this out. So how did you sort of do that during COVID?
That was incredibly, you're hitting on a real problem. And normally, before you even do a test screening audience, as filmmakers, you just bring people in, people you trust, people you know, come to the editing room, we'll have some drinks, you'll watch the movie, you'll give us your feedback, none of that, none of it. I've never made a movie where literally no one saw it, it was crazy. But we did at some point start sending cuts to our trusted people. People that we've known for years, many are filmmakers, many are editors, many are, and even though there wasn't this in-person thing, you couldn't hear how they react. I mean, you read the room. We miss that ability to be, when people are shuffling around, they're bored. They don't have to tell you. You hear it, or if everybody gets up to go to the bathroom at the same time, you're like, maybe our pacing's off. If everybody's gasping, you've got them, so we had none of that. We've never had that experience. It had to be done all through sending a link and then getting feedback.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I already have to wrap. I'm going to say good luck with all your speed dating today. And congrats on the movie.
Thank you.
Thank you.